Hello, my name is Ari Spilkin, and today I will be creating a video on how to shop at the grocery store when looking for low FODMAP foods. Starting with vegetables, we want to shop for vegetables that do not have mannitol and fructans in them. So some of those vegetables include mushrooms, cauliflower, and asparagus that we want to avoid, going along with cauliflower, sometimes broccoli as well, since that's another cruciferous vegetable. Some vegetables that we can look for are tomatoes. Tomatoes are a great low FODMAP option, as well as baby carrots, which can be found pretty much all year round, and cucumber. And those are some great vegetable options when in the grocery store. Going on with fruits, some fruits that we really want to avoid have excess fructose and sorbitol in them, and some of those include apple, pear, watermelon, and then those stone fruits. So those fruits with the pits in them, like plums, cherries, and apricots, we want to avoid those. So some fruits that we can look for are bananas, and bananas are a great option because they're all year round and they're super cheap. And another great thing we can look for in regards to fruits are frozen berries. And frozen berries are so convenient. They can be found in the freezer section all year round, and they can last long because they are frozen. So moving along to dairy, when we're in the grocery store, we can actually look for the non-dairy milks. So we can look for soy, rice, and almond milk. So right here I have almond milk, and this one is actually calcium fortified, and this one has 45% of your daily value of calcium in there. And that's a great way to make sure you're getting in your calcium for that lack of milk. Another option for dairy is looking for those hard cheeses or butter. And those are okay because they have either very little or no lactose in them. So those dairy options that we want to avoid that are high FODMAP are the softer cheeses. So like the cottage cheese, and some of those other softer ones. I can't think any off the top of my head right now. And moving on to snack foods, my recommendation for looking for snack foods is knowing your list of low FODMAP foods already, and then being creative on just making up snacks from those foods. And it's okay to eat processed snack foods, but sometimes when looking for low FODMAP snack options, it can be really hard because a lot of those snacks can have additives, inulin, high fructose corn syrup, onion, and garlic in them. And sometimes those can be impossible to avoid. They're very sneaky in snack foods. So some ideas that I came up with are corn tortillas, and then adding anything you want in them, scrambled eggs or something like that. Hard-boiled egg is another great snack option, as well as almond butter. Almond butter is great. You can pair this with banana, you can pair it with carrots or anything like that. Another nut option are walnuts. And I know peanuts can be great too. So when looking for snacks, you can go in those bulk sections, look for those nuts. You want to avoid cashews and pistachios though, because those are high FODMAP nuts. Another great nut butter option is sunflower butter. And I know a lot of seeds are low FODMAP friendly, so that can also be great. So moving on to breads. When looking for breads, we want to avoid wheat because wheat has oligosaccharides in them, and that causes a lot of really bad symptoms for some people. So some good bread options when at the grocery store is looking for that gluten-free label. So some of those examples, some gluten-free breads have potato flour, rice flour, oat flour, corn flour. But just because it says gluten-free does not mean it is low FODMAP friendly. So always check the back of a label even when it says gluten-free, because sometimes hiding in those gluten-free breads can be honey, high fructose corn syrup, onion, garlic, those things like that. So for bread options, if you want to make your own gluten-free bread, I bought almond flour, and almond flour is great for making your own bread. You just add olive oil and egg. Another great option is getting quinoa flakes. This is just quinoa, but I know there's quinoa flour, and you can make your own bread like that as well. But when you're at the grocery store too, and you just want to get that convenient bread and you don't have time to make your own, then another option for bread that's not gluten-free but is low FODMAP friendly is sourdough bread. That can be okay. So those are some options there. Moving on to the deli section, any fresh lean meats, fish, seafood, and eggs are great since they come plain and unprocessed. They don't have any added high FODMAP foods in there like onion or garlic or extra spicy spices. So what I did here, I have chicken that I meal prepped myself right there. And I just bought plain chicken breast and prepared it however I wanted without any of that onion or garlic in there. And that was a great option for me. Also, frozen fish can be great too, and frozen meats that are, again, if they're processed, looking at the back of the labels, making sure they don't have those additives in there. Or you can just get those fresh cuts that can be frozen as well, which is another really convenient option for meat and seafood and things like that. Lastly, moving on to breakfast cereals, we want to, similarly to bread, we want to avoid cereals with wheat in them because they cause the same problems. So we want to avoid those rapidly fermentable fibers and stick to the lower ones. So some cereals that are great, that are low FODMAP friendly, contain corn, oat, rice, and potato flour instead of wheat. So we can also look for that gluten-free label, but again, make sure we're checking, especially with cereal labels, that there is no high fructose corn syrup, honey, any of those other additives or sugar polyols and things like that in there too. So here I have just oatmeal. This is just oats. This isn't technically a cereal, but this is one low FODMAP option that I have. So I hope that was helpful. Thank you so much.